Getting up for sunrise always sounds like a really good idea. Until your alarm goes off. Oh, it'll be good when I get out. Off we go. Good morning. It is earlier than I usually be up, but it's worth it because I'm going for a walk around a local site for nature. It's also a spot where a barn owl or two are known to frequent, so that's why I keep looking off. I'm looking out for it. I know a few people who have the inside knowledge and know typically where they tend to show up. So I've come out for dawn for a bit of breakfast and maybe some barn owls. Exciting. I was really hoping to be very lucky and see a barn owl here. I'm at a place called Chesworth Farm where a couple are often known to nest and visit semi-regularly. So I've been trying my luck actually every week for a few weeks and I haven't seen them. But surely if I just keep trying I will see one and then I can show you too. I've only ever seen one once, can you believe, in my whole life, and it was at night. So I barely saw it, it was just kind of more of a sweeping shadow just going over my head. Silently of course, but it came so close that I actually felt the air on my face. Apparently they really like to sit on these fence poles at the edges of certain fields here. But interestingly, predators like barn owls will often sit out in the open like that because historically, certainly in my area, they have been the top predator, the apex predator, so they can afford to do that. They can sit out in the open, they're not making themselves vulnerable. Just like us humans do, we can walk through a landscape in England and you don't need to check over your shoulder. Of course that really changes. I spent some time in BC in Canada, and just the fact that you know there could be a bear around the corner, it really does change how you act in an environment. So I understand how that feels. But now with predators like buzzards making a big comeback in the area, suddenly barn owls are not the top predator anymore, and a lot of them are actually getting picked off when they exhibit these behaviours like sitting on fence posts. But of course, in time, they will get selected out, they will learn that this is a very damaging behaviour and they'll stop doing it. But for now, it's offering me a good chance of seeing a barn owl out in the open on a fence post, so I hope they keep it up just a little bit longer.
I didn't end up seeing a barn owl that morning, but the beauty of getting to watch the world around me wake up more than made up for it. My eyes got to indulge in the most beautiful, rich and purple and blue sky as the sun began to round my little corner of the earth, which then moulded into pastel blues and pink-tinged clouds. And within little under an hour, this had given way to brilliant clear blue skies and golden light. Whatever forces painted the sky this morning, they were working with the most incredible palette. The gently increasing light levels and gradually brighter colours and tones melting in the sky woke me up slowly and naturally. This was a great contrast to starting my day with my eyes staring at a screen, artificial light glaring at me and demanding my brain to be awake immediately. It was so nice not to hear the jarring alarm, and instead soothing sounds like the flow of water.
So, back in the car, what's the verdict? I'm feeling very cold. You can't film and have gloves on at the same time. You can never have the best of both worlds. I'm feeling quite tired. Perhaps I didn't twig that I didn't need to get up at the crack of dawn to have my first moments when being awake in nature. I could have done that at any time. But overall, I am just feeling so happy and so calm. So it was definitely worth it. And the main lesson I learnt from everything that's waking up is the first thing they do is they go find breakfast. So I'm going to do the same.
It was such a treat to watch the world wake up. I watched a pair of mallards foraging together in the wetland reed beds and wondered what they thought of the morning. The blackbirds were busy catching worms in the newly trodden and disturbed ground created by grazing herbivores, and the cows themselves were beginning their long day of constant grazing and slow cellulose digestion. I watched a kestrel hunting, catching its characteristic hovering behaviour as it waited to dive down on its prey, until it settled down on the ground, perhaps for a moment of quiet reflection and pause to enjoy the peace of the morning. Birds pruned themselves high up in the trees, and I smiled as I imagined that we may be not alone in wanting to clean and be presentable as we start out our days. The robins were chirping away as they always are, one of the first species to start singing in the morning and one of the last to fall silent at night. The squirrels were tucking into the fresh spring buds on bushes and trees not yet in bloom, and I've never been so close to a sungfrost without it spiriting away. Perhaps this individual was used to people, or with such tasty worms the lure of a good breakfast outweighed any discomfort my presence might have caused it. It seems the business associated with first light is universal for all in nature. The breaking of the fast, taking in nutrients to fuel another day. I took my cue and prepared my own breakfast. While for creatures around me their meals will vary from season to season, depending on what is available at each time of year, I am a creature of habit and I only ever have one fuel for my days, and that's good old oats. As I ate, I couldn't help but think how different it must have been for our ancestors, whose mornings would have been so finely interwoven with the world around them. Their waking hour not dictated by work or school or rude alarms, but by the coming of the sun, which would vary through the seasons. Their eyes would adjust slowly to a new day, as the sun slowly reveals itself, as if wanting to gently nudge the world beneath it awake, instead of the flick of a switch and an explosion of sudden, intrusive artificial light that leaves you wincing and blinded. How lovely it would be if we all had the chance to wake up in such a calm and energizing way. If you like this video, you might also enjoy my last one, where I explored the most beautiful hidden valley in the South Downs. It was something like plucked right out of a Thomas Hardy novel. But until next time, thank you so much for choosing to spend your time watching this video, and I wish you many mornings of gentle awakenings.